Bitcoin may have finally received its first real boost in weeks. BTC climbed back toward the $60,000 level after Federal Reserve Chair Kevin Warsh said inflation risks have eased. But the bigger opportunity for Bitcoin may be coming from somewhere else entirely. The AI stock trade is starting to wobble. And if investors begin pulling money out of expensive chip makers and AI companies, some of that capital could rotate back into Bitcoin and crypto. Here is what is happening. Warsh said inflation risks have come down, while still emphasizing that the Federal Reserve remains focused on returning inflation to its 2% target. He did not promise an interest rate cut at the next meeting, but the softer tone was enough to improve sentiment. Bitcoin quickly reversed earlier losses and moved back towards $60,000. Solana reacted even more strongly, gaining roughly 4% in one day and around 16% over the past week. Ethereum also moved higher, while most other major cryptocurrencies remained mixed, but Bitcoin is still the level everyone is watching. Reclaiming 60,000 is encouraging. Holding it is what matters. BTC is barely above that area, so this is not a confirmed breakout yet. The other major story is the sell-off in AI and semiconductor stocks. For months, investors poured money into chip makers and artificial intelligence infrastructure while Bitcoin struggled. That helped AI stocks soar, while crypto suffered a weak first half. Now, cracks are starting to appear. Major semiconductor stocks sold off sharply across Asia, including Samsung Electronics, SK Hynix, and Japanese chipmaker Kioxia. Investors are becoming concerned that companies may have spent too aggressively on AI infrastructure. Reports that Meta plans to sell access to spare computing capacity raised questions about whether it built more than it currently needs. Apple is also reportedly considering buying chips from Chinese manufacturers, which could hurt major suppliers elsewhere in Asia. This does not mean the AI boom is over, but it does suggest some AI trades may have moved too far, too fast. And that matters because markets are always competing for capital. When one crowded trade begins losing momentum, investors often start searching for the next opportunity. If money rotates out of AI stocks, Bitcoin could benefit, but that is not guaranteed. The semiconductor sell-off may only be temporary, and Bitcoin still faces weak institutional flows and uncertainty around the Fed's next decision. There are also encouraging signals elsewhere. Oil prices have fallen as traffic through the Strait of Hormuz recovers. Lower oil prices could reduce inflation pressure and give the Federal Reserve more room to consider rate cuts later. Gold also moved higher after Warsh's comments, showing that investors are still looking for alternatives during global uncertainty. So Bitcoin now has several possible catalysts. Inflation risks may be easing. Oil prices are falling. The AI trade is showing weakness. And BTC has reclaimed the $60,000 area. But the market still needs confirmation. While Bitcoin fights to hold support, some investors are also watching projects building around the Bitcoin ecosystem. One project attracting attention is Bitcoin Hyper. This is not financial advice, but Bitcoin Hyper is currently priced at $0.0136825 per token. With the next presale price increase expected in just over a day, the project is focused on expanding Bitcoin's utility with faster transactions, more applications, and additional infrastructure around the network. You can find the Bitcoin Hyper link in the description. Best Wallet app is also linked below and allows users to manage crypto, track assets, and explore newer projects from their phones. As always, do your own research and never invest more than you can afford to lose. So what should investors watch next? Bitcoin needs to hold the $60,000 area. Traders also need to see whether the AI stock sell-off develops into a real rotation toward crypto. And the next inflation report and Federal Reserve meeting could determine whether this recovery continues. Bitcoin finally has some positive momentum, but it is still fragile. If inflation keeps cooling and capital begins leaving the AI trade, BTC could have room to climb. If not, the battle around $60,000 may continue.